My mum used to tell me this story, a ghost story she swore was real. She said every night she would hear breathing coming from under her bed. I never believed her, of course. It was just a silly story, something to scare a kid into behaving. But the way she told it, with her eyes wide and her voice a hushed whisper, it always sent a little shiver down my spine. She'd say it was a soft sound, like someone with a bad cold, a raspy innuendo that would start the moment she turned off the light. She tried everything. She stuffed pillows under the bed. She slept with the lights on. She even had my dad come in and check. He never heard a thing. He'd just pat her head and tell her she was dreaming. But she knew she wasn't. Years went by, and it became a family joke. Don't let the man under the bed get you. My dad would chuckle as he tucked me in. I'd roll my eyes, but I'd always take a quick peek under my own bed before I fell asleep, just in case. Even as a teenager, it was a reflex. A stupid, childish habit I couldn't seem to break. My mum eventually stopped talking about it. I guess she got tired of us not believing her. Life went on. I grew up, moved out, and the story of the breathing man under the bed faded into a distant memory, a relic of my childhood. Last week, my parents went on their first real vacation in 20 years, a cruise to Alaska. They left me in charge of the house, the plants, and their ridiculously spoiled cat Patches. The first few days were fine. The house was quiet, almost too quiet. I worked from home, watered the ficus, and mostly just binged TV shows. It was on the third night that things started to feel off. I was in my old bedroom scrolling through my phone when I heard it, but a faint sound. A rhythmic, raspy sound. Breathing. I froze, phone clutched in my hand. It was coming from under my bed. My heart hammered against my ribs. It sounded exactly like my mum had described all those years ago. Slow, deliberate, inhale, exhale, a faint wet rattle at the end of each breath. My first thought was that it was the cat. Patches was old and had a bit of a wheeze. I called his name, Patches. Come here, buddy. Nothing. The breathing continued, steady and unnerving. I slid off the bed, my feet hitting the cold hardwood floor. My mind was racing. It had to be the pipes, or the wind, or the house settling. It couldn't be what my mum always said it was. That was just a story. I took a deep breath, trying to calm my nerves. I was an adult now. There were no monsters under the bed. I told myself it was just my imagination, fueled by being alone in this big old house. I probably just fell asleep for a second and dreamed it. I decided to go downstairs and make some tea, something to settle myself. As I walked down the hall, I passed my parents' bedroom. The door was slightly ajar. I don't know why, but I felt a strange pull, a morbid curiosity. I pushed the door open and stepped inside. The room was dark, the only light coming from the hallway behind me. It was neat and tidy, just as they'd left it. I walked over to the bed, a big four-poster thing that my mum adored, and then I heard it again. The breathing. Louder this time, deeper, and it was definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, coming from under their bed. My blood ran cold. It was real. All this time, it was real. It wasn't under my bed. It was under hers. She had been telling the truth all these years, and we had all just laughed it off. I felt a wave of guilt wash over me, followed immediately by pure, unadulterated terror. What was under there? My hand was shaking as I pulled out my phone to use its flashlight. I had to know. I crouched down, my heart feeling like it was going to explode. I aimed the beam of light into the darkness under the dust ruffle. I saw dust bunnies, a lost slipper, an old magazine, but nothing else. Nothing. No one was there. The breathing had stopped the moment the light hit the space. I let out a shaky laugh, a sound that was half relief and half hysteria. I was losing my mind. The stress of being alone, the old ghost story, it was all just messing with my head. I stood up, feeling foolish. I needed to get a grip. I walked out of the room, leaving the door open, and went back to the kitchen, my little scare already starting to feel silly. The kettle was whistling. As I poured the hot water into a mug, my phone buzzed on the counter. A new message. I figured it was my parents sending another photo of a glacier or a whale. I picked it up and unlocked the screen. The message wasn't from my dad, it was from my mum. My heart sank as I read the words. It was just 5 words, but they made every hair on my body stand on end. Why are you in my room? I stared at the screen, my mind struggling to process it. How could she know? They were on a cruise ship in the middle of the ocean with spotty at best reception. She couldn't possibly know I was just in her room. It was impossible. Maybe she had some kind of weird sixth sense.